right-hand side the absolute value?
Perfect. We haven't discussed this, but I want to discuss it now. As I'm adding numbers and they can be positive or negative. How do I think about this? A -3 means that I kindly asked you to give me $3 and you were very generous and you gave me $3. And the next day I come to you and say, I know I have to give you back $3, but I only have $2 today. Please take $2. How much left from my debt? How much is left from my debt? I borrowed $3 and I gave $2 back. So how much is left? 1. But you mean a -1 because it's a debt. So which of these two numbers has a higher power, if you want, not power as the exponent, but as a, which one is stronger? Well, -3 is stronger in absolute value. So that's why the sign of the outcome comes from the stronger number. This is a stronger number versus this. So because 3 is negative, the outcome will be negative. Good. Now, let's determine the absolute value of -1. What will you say? What is the absolute value of -1? 1 with minus in front, and this is how we get our final answer. -1. Any questions? Any questions?
A number like stronger.
Yes, excellent. So for example, if I have 10 plus 2, they have the same sign. I have $10 and I add 2 to it and I get 12. If I have -10 minus 2, I know I borrowed $10 from you and today I say, please give me 2 more. So now I owe you 12. Good. But now what happens in these situations? $10 minus 2 and -10 plus 2. Let's analyze this. I have $10 and I give you 2. Once I give you 2, I'm down to 8. Done. But what happens here? I will ask myself, which of these two numbers has more power? Well, 10 has more power than 2 because 10 is a negative number. In other words, what I'm saying, the absolute value of -10 is 10 and the absolute value of 2 is 2. So this has more power. This will dictate. And because 10 is a negative number, the final outcome will be a negative number. Only because -10 has more power than +2. So first I will establish the sign, and then in my head I say 10 minus 2 is 8. Adriana, is better? Is this better?
Yes, and if the absolute value of like 2, if it was, let's say, like positive 12, then its absolute value would be 12 rather than the absolute value of -10 being 10. So would it make it the stronger number in that case?
Yes. So this in absolute value is 10. This in absolute value is 12. But because 12 has a negative in front and it's more powerful than 10, the outcome will be negative.
Okay, so the more powerful number is the one with the higher absolute value?
Exactly.
Okay.
Those dictate in situations in which numbers have opposite signs. And that's why this will be -2. Yes, excellent. Okay. Here is a question for you. If I have, let's say, -2 plus 8 plus a number equals 20. This is called an equation. So what is an equation? An equation is a balance. The balance has a left-hand side. It has a right-hand side, left-hand side. It has a right-hand side and an equal symbol. An equation cannot have two equal symbols, cannot have more than one left-hand side, one right-hand side, and an equal symbol. This is it. So let's say I'm facing this, and I'm asking myself, okay, what do I do next? Okay, what I'm going to do is, first of all, combine like terms. Well, in other words, I'm going to add these two. Because 8 is more powerful, 8 will dictate. Well, the answer will be positive. 8 minus 2 is 6. Good. There is nothing else I can simplify left and right. So what will I do next? Well, next I will say, I want to solve this equation for x, so I want x alone on one side. Perfect. If I want x alone on one side, then I have to get rid of 6. Yes, I know in your previous experience with math, your previous exposure to math, you will write -6, -6. There is no need for that. You can continue using that method, but let me show you a different one. If I want to move a term from one side to the other, all I have to do is change its sign. 20 minus 6 is 14. That's all I need. You don't need extra writing, you don't need a horizontal line, nothing. It was positive here. It will move to the other side and change its sign. That's all it does. I'm allowed to move terms from one side to the other. The only thing I need to do is change the sign. Now, is this true? I have no clue. But I don't need anyone to tell me yes or no. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to the original equation. I'm going to replace x by 14 and see if it's a balance still. If it isn't, then 14 is wrong. The left-hand side, 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 plus 14 is 20. Yes, it is. So then I'll say yes. I don't need anyone's help to determine that. I will always check on my own in order not to lose points. Okay, multiplication. Of course, the same properties. AB equals BA. Commutative. The order is not important. 2 times 3 is 3 times 2. Not important. And of course, we have the associative property as well. Grouping is not important. ABC with grouping on the first two, ABC with grouping on the last two. Grouping is not important. I cannot multiply 3 numbers at the same time. I have to multiply 2 of them. When I'm done, I'll multiply by the third one. And the grouping can be done in any way you want. Of course, 1 times A is A times 1, which is A. If we multiply by 0, 0 times A equals A times 0, but this is always 0, always. Okay. Something called perimeter of a geometric figure. For example, a triangle with sides A, B, and C. The perimeter is the sum. In other words, the distance all around it. A plus B plus C. What about a rectangle? A, B, and B. The perimeter of a rectangle is twice A plus twice B. Okay, this is basically the end of 1.1. I don't want to start 1.2. I want you to start working on 1.1 and see what you encounter and see what problems we need to work on together. So let's open that quickly. Let's do the orientation. There is a little orientation thing in there. So let's do the orientation quickly so we can start working on 1.1. And let's see if we encounter any questions there. So go to all assignments. Let's go to all assignments and let's do the orientation. Let me know if you have any difficulties with that orientation thing.